Hello, lad.
Hey Dennis, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you all good. Can you hear me?
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, you're very punctual for a fighter, man. All of you guys are normally very late. So this is,
Listen, it's a Sunday, mate. I'm normally not this punctual.
yeah, no, it's awesome, man. I love to hear it. But look, Dennis, we've already started recording. So look, I'm gonna go straight into it, man. You got fight coming up at the end of this month against Jan Siroky. Tell me, gonna go through the generic question initially. How's training going for it? And yeah, I mean, what's the kind of your thoughts on your opponent?
Um, yeah, I'll answer your first part of that first. So, yeah, training's going well. Obviously, I wouldn't say it was a late notice fight, but obviously it's been about five weeks out from the fight that I found out, and obviously it was like a week or so before Christmas that I found out I was fighting.
Yeah,
So, bit of a shit Christmas, obviously didn't get to go home or anything like that. Stayed over here in Manchester for camp.
yeah.
Um, Obviously my birthday is like 2 days after Christmas as well,
Oh no
and
way.
then yeah, and then like New Year's. So that week is normally for me. I like to fight like sort of mid-December,
Yeah,
and then have that time free to just enjoy myself for a week or two. Get back in January. But with this one, it was a bit of a weird one because obviously, yeah, as I say, I've basically been in camp through that holiday week. But yeah, it's been good. It's been motivational. It's the first time in years, I'd say, on January 1st that I've woke up fresh and gone into training and just ready to take on the day and take on the year. So I think I'll keep that up now.
yeah,
That sort of starting the year as you'd like to go through it.
definitely.
Um, as far as my thoughts on Jan Siroky, yeah, besides everything else, I respect the guy. He is a veteran of the sport. He's got a lot more fights than me. I don't know when he made his debut, but I'm pretty sure he made his debut way before I was even near martial arts. Um, yeah, I'm going to be his 30th fight. Um, so yeah, I did respect him, and I was trying to be respectful when the fight was announced and that. And for whatever reason, he's decided to start poking at me with little online jabs, calling me a keyboard warrior and stuff like that. Even though, like I said, I hadn't actually made any jabs at him really. Um, which I mean, it's a bit of a stupid move on his part because, like, why would you start an online war with a keyboard warrior? If someone's a keyboard
Yeah,
warrior, why are you gonna look to start getting into verbals with them online? Like, you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like,
Do you think
so
it's
I
almost he kind of saw your shenanigans in Octagon? I thought you put it this way, I thought you were the star of the show, man. You were so funny and entertaining to watch. But do you think it's because of the fact that you were playing that kind of psychological warfare on other fighters? He's like, I'm going to expect this, so I'll start this first. Do you think it's almost that?
Yeah, maybe. I just think he's a company man, you
Yeah,
know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his reasoning behind it is. Maybe he realized he needs to get a win back because he's coming off a loss.
yeah.
As am I. But I believe he was ranked number 8 in the Octagon rankings at lightweight. And off the back of a loss to a UK fighter, he's ended up getting removed from the rankings.
Oh, damn, yeah.
So maybe he's just trying to sell himself a little bit or whatnot. But I mean, it is what it is. I think it's his first fight outside of his hometown for Octagon. I think he's fought all his fights in Ostrava, which is his hometown. A beautiful city, by the way. And yeah, I think maybe that's he's just trying to play up to the UK crowd, and maybe he thinks that's what sells in the UK, and he's trying to get himself a few fans. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a mind reader. I'm not clairvoyant.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Um, so I don't know what his thought process is behind that. But all I'm gonna say is that he opened the can of worms, so it's on now. You know what I mean? And obviously the respect is still there. I still respect him as a fighter, and honestly, I respect him for taking the fight against me. I'm officially 0-2.
Yeah,
Even though I had 5 fights last year under pro rules, but for whatever reason, my official record's 0-2. People know my skill set if they've watched me fight, but yeah, for him to take that fight as a guy who's on a loss and has 30 fights, um, he didn't really need to, you know what I mean? There was
Yeah,
no real obligation for him to take that fight. And it is a risky fight for him. It's a dangerous fight for him. Everyone knows it is. There's people with way less fights on the roster that are ducking fighting me. So yeah, I respect him for that. But as far as like the mind games and stuff, like now that it's on, you know.
yeah. I'm surprised, man. You're relatively kind of a bit more tame with the trash talk, or is that kind of gonna build up over the next few weeks? Are you kind of setting it up?
Um, I'm not going too deep on him because, like I said,
Yeah.
I do have a semblance of respect for him there. Um, yeah, and I mean, like, obviously, anyone that knows me and's met me in person knows I'm not actually a dickhead. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
know.
Like, maybe I'm a bit of a dickhead, you know, but in a friendly way, you know, like you would be with your mates, you banter and that. Like, I think going on that show on Octagon and like being in a house with a load of people you're fighting,
Yeah,
um, it can bring out the worst in people. And you know, for the good and for the bad, like you know, it definitely creates an air of tension and like there's a lot of testosterone and obviously there's cameras everywhere, so like obviously you want to crank it up to like level 100
yeah,
as well for the entertainment value. Um, but yeah, not to say that I was like playing a role, but like I overplayed it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like I overindulged in the darker sides of my personality. Um, and I don't think that's always the case with me. You know, I'm not always gonna go that far with everyone. And like I said, I do respect Jan. At the end of the day, I respect him for even just taking the fight. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna shit talk someone who accepted to fight me and to be honest, gave me an opportunity to showcase my skill set against them because, you know, if I beat him then now, no one really can say, oh, I'm not fighting you because you've this little fights or because you're this record and this and that. Because he was just ranked number 8.
yeah.
Um and he's got as like I said, it's his 30th fight. So anyone with less than 30 fights and anyone who's ranked, you know, lower than number 8 was can't really say, oh, I'm not fighting you for this reason or that. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Do you almost so just kind of going back to obviously how your experience in the house? How was it like the first time in front of cameras? It's obviously a very surreal environment. It's a reality TV show essentially. And I'm sure that after once the in pre post production, there's a lot of heavy editing as well. Was it how was it kind of adjusting to all that?
Obviously, I had no idea how it was going to be edited.
Yeah.
Um,
Were you happy with it, by the way?
I was happy with it, but there was some bits that I'd like to have seen that were left out. You know, there was certain bits that I'm like, could have put that in. That would have been funny. Um, but other than that, you know, like I didn't really give them a choice. I said, look, like either way, I've seen reality TV shows enough. Not a big fan of them, but I've watched them
Yeah.
when I was younger and that, and I've seen them enough to know that like no matter what you do, they can always make it spin to make you look like the bad guy. So I said, right, I'm just not going to give them a choice in the matter as to whether I'm going to be the bad guy or not. I'm going to just be the bad guy all the time, off camera, on camera, everything. So that way, at least I'm in control of what narrative is getting put out there, you know, and I think I did a good job of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so yeah, as I say, look, we were there for a good 2.5 weeks, and each episode was filmed over 4 days, and it's like an hour or less of an episode, including the fight. Um, so a lot of stuff was left out. You know,
Yeah.
like there was a lot of moments that were like I wouldn't say dull moments, but just like real life moments where me and the other Irish lads, and then all the English lads are sat around the table, actually just like having normal conversation, or just
You don't
like
want to put
you
that
know
in.
no, just chatting to each other, or even like, mate, I played George in Mario Kart. You know what I mean? Me and him had a few games of Mario Kart, and he smoked me at that as well. So you know, like they're not going to put that in though, are they? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't fit with the narrative.
They want to show the
Um,
pranks and kind of you guys fucking with each other.
yeah,
And it's good.
yeah,
I mean, for me, it was entertaining. I'd binge through that. It was a good watch.
yeah.
I mean, like I think your trash talk is really good, by the way. Like the way you do it, you can definitely you can definitely visibly see, yeah, that you're getting into opponents' heads. For example, Hassan at the beginning of the season, you know, he started off extremely confident. He was going, "I'll kill you, I'll kill you. You know, I'm going to do this." And then by the second or third episode, it's almost like the guy started quieting down a little bit. You know, he weren't as flamboyant. You know, he was kind of just sticking to himself. Was that
Yeah.
something that you envisioned or you knew that was going to happen?
Um, to be honest, yeah, at the start, the first day, this is like the first day we've landed. We've all got to the hotel before we've even got to the villa. Um, I've started like just making little jabs at the guys, you know what I mean? Before we've even started filming or anything. And he was the only one that bit the bait. Um, because I feel like the rest of them, you know, they're all from around like the north of England, Liverpool and Hull, and George kind of knew me from the scene, and we all sort of knew each other from the amateur scene. And Hassan's from London, so he didn't know who I was or what I did. So I feel like he thought he could go back and forth with me. The rest of them just didn't bite, so he became my primary target then. And like you say, by like the third episode, but like that's after about a week of us already being around each other. So by that stage, he was broken in terms of the verbal stuff. He knew that there was no point in going back and forth with me. Every time he went back and forth with me, it'd be like 10-8 round, 10-8 round, ten
Yeah.
seven round. And he's just like, nah, do you know what? I'm just gonna save it for the fucking fight because there's no point in me going back and forth with him and making myself look silly. Um, and yeah, I think that is the way it came off. It wasn't like I was expecting it, but I
Yeah, yeah,
definitely
of
knew
course.
that like he wouldn't be capable of going back and forth with me, especially because I don't think English is his first language. I think French is his first language.
Yeah, it's
So
totally.
yeah, it wasn't he wasn't on my level in the trash talk. You know, not many people are.
Where did you develop this from as well? Like, where did you start? I mean, is it because I know you did track and field many years ago? Did it start there? You know, were you just competitive and start talking shit from track and field days? When did it start developing?
Um, to be honest, I was a bit of a hothead in the track and field scene as well. Um, I got banned from a few like I got like a few months bans and stuff from a few track meets for getting into like little altercations and stuff like that. Which is why I think MMA was sort of my calling because like I can't actually just fight someone. I do just love fighting. Um, but yeah, I would say like just my friends group, my peer group, and just being Irish as well. Like everyone from Ireland sort of knows how to banter with each other. You know what I mean? And I always felt like I was just willing to go a bit further than most people were willing to go, and it would cause arguments. It would cause like actual like fallings out with people. So I just brought that into the MMA trash talk, and obviously like I've got my inspirations in the game. Um, Not that I'd like to emulate them, but like they definitely inspired the way that I do things. Like you know your Chael Sonnens, Colby Covington, obviously early Conor McGregor. Um, and I don't think I'm on that level yet, but I think I'm getting there, you know, and it's the same as any other skill. I think the more you use a skill, the more you develop it and the better your timing gets at it and the better your ability to think on the spot and come up with these quips and jabs on the spot, the better that gets, you know.
Definitely, and I almost feel like with trash talk, I mean, Connor did this the best with Jose Aldo. He got into his head so much that I feel like if he bred some doubt into Jose Aldo's head. Is that the main purpose, or you're just trying to have fun? You're trying to get some views in. What would you say is the
Mm,
main purpose of it?
it's a bit of both, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like with certain people, like they get emotional and you can't be emotional in a fight, you know. If you're emotional in a fight, you become stiff, your muscles tense up, your body fills with cortisol. Um, and as a result of you being stiff, you become a lot more readable in the cage. People might not think it when it's happening, but then once they step in the cage, like you step in a cage even with zero trash talk, you're already full of cortisol, you're already full of adrenaline. You know, your muscles do tense up regardless. So if you can just add an extra little bit, even if it's 1%, 2%, that's a little edge in a fight. And as well as that, it's just funny and it's like I said, it's what I do with me mates anyway. Like some of the shit I say me and my mates say to each other is yeah, it'll get me cancelled, do you know what I mean? Like if you could see some of the group chats I'm in, like everyone would be going to jail if if they got leaked. So
you, you think the
it's
English lads are just too soft?
I don't know if all the English lads are soft like across England, but I think the guys on the English team were definitely they weren't really about that trash talk stuff. I think they're more like respect martial arts kind of stuff, like, and which is fair enough. Like I get that side of things as well. I'm a fan of Anderson Silva, and I'm a fan of fighters. You know, GSP. I'm a fan of fighters that never trash talked, and that was their thing. But I think if I tried to do that, I would be holding back a part of myself and not truly expressing myself as
Yeah.
the person that I am. So yeah, I think I just play to who I am, you know.
Is there like a limit? Is there like a limit? Because I know. So obviously, with the whole Colby Covington situation, he brought up Leon's dad, which is pretty fucking dark, to be honest. But do you think there's ever a limit in trash talk in MMA?
Um, I think it depends. I think it depends, honestly. I personally wouldn't have gone as far as to do what Colby did. I know obviously I made fun of George's nan and that, like, but I think she had been passed away for quite some time. And as well as that, like, I think a grandmother passing away of like in old age, she's lived a full life and stuff like that,
Yeah,
where your dad being shot when you're really young, and yeah, it's different, isn't it? And I think I probably would never make fun of someone's kids. Um, you know, and I think to be honest, I'll probably leave the family stuff out in
yeah,
the future just because yeah, I just think it's a little bit of a bad juju. I think as I said, just being in the house and stuff like that, and the show and the spectacle and all that it was, it just it brought out a bit of a darker side of me, um, where but I don't think there's anything that's too far in the fight game. At the end of the day, everyone has their own line, their own moral line, and we're getting in a cage at the end of it, and we're gonna sort it out anyway. So maybe like after the fight, don't be fucking bringing that stuff up. But like before the fight, until we step in that cage, like fucking mate, we're gonna try and send each other to the hospital. Do you know what I mean? Like
definitely.
you know, people are gonna get really badly hurt. Brain cells are gonna be lost. Injuries are gonna happen. So at the end of the day, like whatever's said can just be sorted out in the cage anyway afterwards. So it shouldn't really matter.
Yeah, 100%. Do you so this is a question that we like to ask all our guests, but do you ever get anxiety going into a fight? Most fighters say yes, but how do you deal with it if that is the case, or is that even a thing for you?
Um, like yeah, like obviously you know that there's a risk going in the cage no matter what. Anyone that says they don't get any sort of anxiety is a bit of a liar, I think. Or they're just maybe they just have no regard for their own personal safety. Um, but yeah, obviously there is a bit of anxiety. Um, I just deal with that by training hard, you know what I mean? Because I think when you get to fight day and you know you've done everything possible, you've trained as hard as you could, you didn't miss sessions, you've done all your recovery, you've done your nutrition right, you've done your weight cut right, you've worked hard, you've game planned. At that point, like you step in the cage, um, there's nothing more you can do. And at that
Yeah,
point, it's like, who is the better man on the day? Not even the better man, but just the better man on the day. Who fights better on the day? And you just got to leave it in the hands of fate at that point.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. I think the only times I've really been properly nervous for a fight was when I felt like I hadn't done enough in the camp. But that rarely ever happens to me. Like I'm usually very on it, and I train hard even when I'm not in camp. So
nice. Yeah, I mean, have you ever been at a stage where it's been crippling, or it's just it's just normal?
nah, nah, nah. I've never had an issue with the crowd or anything else like that, or the nerves. At the end of the day, I just enjoy having a fight anyway, and yeah, I've confidence in my abilities and my chin and my training, and I just feel like I've never had a crippling anxiety. Obviously, you get the little butterflies in your stomach, but I almost feel like you need that as well. I feel sometimes when I've not been nervous at all for a fight, I've underperformed a little bit as well. Um, so you need those nerves as well to sort of kickstart you and make your body realize that I'm in a fight. Put your body into fight or flight mode, and then you fight.
100%. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Dennis? As a fighter
Five
or
years,
even a civilian, whatever it is.
fucking hell, five years is a long way away.
Yeah.
Like I've only been doing MMA like 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
Um, this will be coming into my third year now of having trained MMA at all. Um, so sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, this year is I think going to be a big year. I'm looking to have maybe 4 or 5 fights this year, win them all, and see where it takes me from there. Um, 5 years. You know what? I'll be honest. I could see myself still with Octagon if they treat me right. I know Octagon's a good promotion, and everyone goes on about the UFC and this, that, and the other. But yeah, I mean, for me, obviously UFC would be a dream, but it's never really been like my priority necessarily. My
Yeah.
goal is to be a world champion. Um, in a major promotion, and I believe like Octagon are making their way to be a major promotion in the world. They're already like a premier European promotion, so yeah, like a world champion and comfortable financially from just fighting, and being able to slowly work and start helping people um get into martial arts and spreading the martial arts and spreading my knowledge of what I've picked up over the last few years.
Awesome to hear, man. And final question for you, Dennis. How do you envision a little bit more short term, but how do you envision 2024?
2024, obviously, going to start off in a few weeks. Going to knock this Jan Siroky fella out. Going to get, as I say, I'm looking to get another 4 or maybe even 5 fights, depending on how uninjured I come out of each fight. Try and get a load of fights in succession. Build the record up, and hopefully go Thailand at the end of the year. Finally, I've been saying for years I'm going to go to Thailand, so hopefully go Thailand at the end of the year and finish off with a bit of sunshine and get out of this cold weather.
Lovely.
Um, but yeah,
Hey, nice. That sounds amazing, man. But hey, look, Dennis, the final word goes to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Definitely you folks make sure to tune in and see Dennis fight at the end of this month. But the final word goes to you, as I said. Any sponsors you want to plug, go for it, Dennis, man. It's your spotlight.
yeah. So obviously, shout out. I've got a few of them now. So shout out all my sponsors. Obviously, Anik Nutrition, so it helps with me nutrition. Reggie, my strength and conditioning coach, Move Plus, he just gets. I've been working him for like a year now, just over a year now, and he's gotten me the strongest I've ever been, the fittest I've ever been. All my training partners in Manchester top team as well.
You're
Oosh
watching
giveaways,
Calfkicksports.
Royal Minerals,
Podcast.
CMOS, New Natural Shilajit. They just help me out with all different bits and bobs, pound for pound performance. A couple new sponsors I have on board as well. Chicken Run, Manchester, best Jamaican food in Manchester, home of the chicken split, and I think that's everyone now. If I've left anyone out, I'm sorry. Like I get put on the spot with these things a lot, but yeah.
You gotta
Any yeah,
be
Vigorate as well.
Yeah.
Vigorate as well. They get me all my body washes, antibacterial, antifungal body washes. No like nasty ingredients in there as well, so keep me from getting staff and impetigo and all that other shit. But yeah, anyone I've left out, like they're on my page. I post constantly about them, and give me a follow, and you'll see them on my story or on some of my posts if you want to have a look.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. You're the man. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me on, mate.